Good morning and welcome to Lean Gap San Francisco 2025! Firstly, I want to thank you all for coming. Not only does it mean a lot to us, but it means a lot to the students. My name is Tegan Ewan. I am a 2022 alum and a mentor here at Lean Gap. I'm also a rising freshman at Boston College, double majoring in math and psychology, and I am so incredibly excited to be joined here today by my fellow alumni.
Hi everyone, my name is Shrestha. I am a 2023 Lean Gap alumni, and I am a current rising sophomore at Rutgers University studying finance and data science.
Hi everyone, my name is Kedivine Anrit, and I'm a 2022 Lean Gap alumni. I'm a rising sophomore studying business administration and data science here at UC Berkeley's Haas School of Business. And today we have 6 amazing teams ready to pitch to you. After pitching, we'll have the judges' deliberation and time for photos, and there will also be time at the end of the event for networking. Please, throughout the event, feel free to go to the back for some refreshments.
So Kedivine, why is today a special day?
I'm glad you asked. Today is not only the culmination of our summer program, but it is also Lean Gap's 10-year anniversary! What? So, what is Lean Gap? And why are you all here today? Well, Lean Gap is a startup incubator that lasts 4 weeks for high school students. And not only do these students build a company, but they also build their resilience, their curiosity, their grit, and the drive that will serve them for the rest of their entrepreneurial lives.
Lean Gap's programming is split into 4 weeks. The first week is validation, then creation, traction, and lastly, pitching. In validation, we saw our students pitch and then pick their favorite ideas, form teams around these ideas, and then test if these ideas would actually work. When I was at the same process 2 years ago, I thought this was going to be the easiest part. And it was in the beginning. When my pitch was selected to be one of the 6 Lean Gap businesses, I didn't feel accomplished or proud, however. I felt normal. I felt relieved. Because I came into Lean Gap with this mindset of expecting success immediately. A mindset that Lean Gap loves to test. I learned throughout validation that it wasn't about proving how right my idea was. It was about seeing how wrong I might have been. And getting 16-year-old Shrestha to admit how wrong she might have been was a really difficult task. Because it felt like admitting defeat. It felt like waving the white flag to surrender, because I always used to equate my work with my worth. And it just always felt like I was failing. Except that's the funny thing about failing here at Lean Gap. The more you fail here, the less it breaks you. You stop seeing failure as a sign of your inadequacy, and you start seeing it as just part of the process. So thanks to Lean Gap, I stopped waiting for the perfect moment, the perfect idea to strike, or the perfect opportunity. Because here at Lean Gap, perfect isn't just an adjective. To perfect is a verb, and that means constantly putting yourself out there. It means to try and try and try. And that's exactly what I did my first year in college, because Lean Gap taught me to. I put myself out there, whether that be building courses on AI for female entrepreneurs that we do, if that meant also doing customer discovery for a crime prevention startup, or if that meant consulting Hoku, a real estate agency. I did everything that I thought I was interested in because Lean Gap told me to just try. Lean Gap taught me that real growth, real perfection starts the minute you're willing to be wrong.
So, creation is the second part of Lean Gap. And when attempting to write my portion of this speech, I consulted a very good friend of mine, ChatGPT, to see if it could generate a perfect description of what the creation phase truly entails. It gave me a beautifully worded response. Creation is the collision of abstraction and execution. So, to sum that up in human terms, my robot friend states that creation is an elegant and clean-cut process. In my experience, it was anything but that. I'm sure many of you can relate. but I went to a high school where I was surrounded by what I now call restricting language. I had to fit myself into a box of either being left-brained or right-brained or a humanities person or a STEM person or creative or not creative or just about a billion other categories that I knew I didn't quite belong to. School encouraged me to pick a lane, and it rewarded me for staying there. And the lane I chose, as I'm sure many of you might be able to assume, was the farthest thing away from anything builder or tech related. So I came into LeanGap with a cloud over my head. The word non-technical was woven into every single sentence I spoke and used to describe myself. Like literally every sentence I would mention, I don't know how to build. I don't know how to code. I'm not technical. And at just age 15, barely into high school, I had already decided that I didn't have the right kind of brain to turn an idea into a product. But little by little, I realized that the startup space doesn't have room or doesn't care, actually, about what side of your brain is more dominant. It doesn't care whether you're creative or not creative or technical or not technical. At LeanGap, I had to learn to put down my pride, to ask the stupid questions, and to get scrappy. And little by little, the word non-technical stopped being a limitation. It became a starting point. Because creation isn't about being perfectly prepared. It's about standing in a room full of people who seem to know everything and to admit you know nothing, but to stay in the room anyway. To me, creation is not some collision of abstraction and execution. It's a decision to keep building despite whatever self-limiting thought you put onto yourself.
And after creation comes traction. And this is where things get really real. Because at this point, you've built something cool and you're like, hey, mom, I want to show it off now. I want to go sell to people now. But then you realize something important. It's that, bro, I have to talk to strangers. And that's terrifying. It's chaotic, it's thrilling, and it's fun. Because at LeanGap, traction means getting your first sales, your first users, and your first rejections. And when you get those first rejections, you start to think to yourself, is my product good enough? Was my pitch good enough? And am I good enough? And that last question really hit me hard because it's a question that isn't new to me. I've been asking this all my life, and I'm only 18. But because I've been asking this question, it comes from a place where I've been told that I'm too Taiwanese to be Indian, and I'm too Indian to be Taiwanese. I'm too Asian to be American, and I'm too American to be Asian. Like, that's ridiculous. Why am I listening to somebody, and why am I letting somebody define who I am? But that's exactly what I did. I let people label me as strange, exotic, and foreign. And the more I heard these words, the more I thought that this is who I'm meant to be and this is who I'm going to become. And for a long time, it worked really well. I presented myself like that to the world. And it was fine. People liked me and, I had friends. But it was sawn through at LeanGap. Because when you go outside and you have to present your product to a stranger, they know that the big numbers that you slap in their face, and they know that the fancy script and the words that you say are not coming from you. It's not genuine. Literally anybody can do it. And that doesn't make you special. Not one bit. But what matters is showing up as you. And once I started to do that, I realized that the strangers actually started to listen to me. And when they started to listen to me, I felt like I didn't have to hide anymore. It was something empowering to me. Because in reality, nobody cares about, what you're building or who you are. so busy thinking about themselves and working on what they want. This is ambition, this is creativity, and this is drive. There are no labels, there are no boxes. There's just genuine friendship. And to me, I felt like I didn't have to hide anymore. I could show who I really was. And that was an important lesson for me to learn because I had been caring so much about who I was to others that I forgot who I really was to myself. And I took these lessons home with me from Lingap almost immediately. I asked my dad if I could wear a sari for the first time, and he was like, dude, do you want to start eating Indian food now too? Because I tried Indian food for the first time 2 years ago. And it's so good, by the way. And I loved it. I felt empowered. And I also started learning Chinese because I wanted to talk to my mom in her native language so that she didn't always have to talk to me in mine. And now I can confidently say after 3 years of learning Chinese, 你好. And the lesson that I'm taking away from this is that I don't have to hide in a box anymore. And the moment that you stop hiding, you actually start connecting. And I'm so happy I can stand in front of everyone here today and say that this is me. This is what I've built. I'm not perfect, but I'm proud of it.
And what a way to say that we are proud of what we are and what we've built than like the last week here at LeanGap, pitching. We've spent so many hours seeing our students practice and perfect their pitches for you here today. And I'd like to say us mentors have been with them every step of the way. I'd like to say that this last week was as much of a test of our ability to mentor as it was their ability to learn. I'm surprised also as a mentor how quickly I bonded with our team and how deeply those bonds have stayed. Whether that be joining my team on their team dinners or an impromptu game of volleyball, these kids have taught me that when you work, the most important thing is the connections and memories you make, not some crazy, prestigious, ambitious goal that you put for yourself.
So throughout my time at LeanGap, I have become more and more inspired by each and every student. Because within the time that you've been here, you've already accomplished something that most adults will never do within their lifetime. And that is act despite fear of failure. And I emphasize the word despite here because these kids have not been unafraid. I've seen them learn how to stand up for themselves when they felt unheard. I've seen them struggle through pitch anxiety and work through late night sessions, getting ready for this day. But as an incoming college freshman, I'm constantly struggling with the pressure to pursue a passion of mine that gives me stability. And being here at LeanGap has reminded me of the beauty of taking risks and the beauty of entrepreneurship. And so I would like to say a thank you to LeanGap and its students for reminding me just how in love I am with this field and for providing me with a community of such amazing and talented individuals who I am so proud to call my friends, my coworkers, and my family.
And these stories don't apply to just Shrestha, Tegan, and I. Because actually, every year since 2015, there have been 2 amazing cohorts of 40 students that go and embark on this journey, same as we did. And it has been so rewarding to us mentors to see these students go through these 4 weeks just as we did. And with that, I just want to say, I am so proud of you guys. And I would like to welcome everyone to LeanGap 2025 San Francisco!
With that being said, I would love to introduce you to our 3 amazing judges that are making our demo day a success today. First, we have Danielle, who is the founder and general partner at 1517, an early-stage venture capital fund that works with people from all walks of life, high schoolers, college dropouts, or anyone that's willing to build. She is also on the co-founding team of the Teal Fellowship, And if you don't know what that is, you definitely know what products that have come out of it, such as Smart Snacks or Snack Pass or even Figma and Ethereum. She has spent years in this field, and we know for a fact a lot of those years was spent mentoring young entrepreneurs like the ones we have today.
Next, we have Tommy, who is the Vice President of Design at Legion. It's a marketplace management platform, and it was also recently voted one of the fastest growing private companies in America. Some notable clients include Nike, Dollar General, Panda Express, and guys, I actually just found this out a few hours ago, Erewhon, home of the famous Hailey Bieber smoothie. He is also design leader in numerous companies and has built from 0 to 1 products such as Nurx and Curai Health.
And last but not least, we have Kristen Chen joining us here today. And she's been joining us for many years, so I just want to say welcome back. Hi. Kristen Chen is a startup advisor in the Bay Area, but she's also the former CEO of Top GG. She was also the former chief product officer at MetaTheory and SoundCloud. And she's also had roles at Pinterest, Twitch, and LinkedIn.
Our judges today will decide 2 awards amongst our 6 teams. The first award is Best Pitch, awarded to the team that conveys their company with the best storytelling. The second award is Most Outstanding Company, and that award is awarded to the team that showcases the most impressive results, storytelling that they were able to do in these last 4 weeks in their respective industries. I would like to give the floor to our first team, Climacrate.
Hi, I'm Veda.
I'm Allison, and we are Climacrate, a lifeline for your loved ones with diabetes.
When Hurricane Maria hit Puerto Rico, 85% of the island was left without power. Hospitals collapsed, emergency services were overwhelmed, and people with chronic illnesses were left without a way to properly store their medications.
One resident, Sophia, a wife and mother of 2, was left in a devastating reality. The power went out, and her husband's insulin was going to be spoiled. She was seen in the hospital hallways, crying and pleading for someone to give her ice to store her husband's insulin safely. No one should ever have to face that kind of fear, helplessness, and desperation.
But Sophia's loss was just one of hundreds. In the months after the hurricane, 195 diabetics lost their lives due to a lack of refrigerated insulin.
But here's the thing, these deaths were preventable.
These people died not because of a natural disaster, but because of a lack of proper medical storage. Sophia could have been any of us. A wife, a mother, a daughter. Just someone doing their best to protect the people they love.
That's why we created Climacrate, a lifeline for your loved ones with diabetes. Climacrate is a zero electricity fridge that uses evaporative cooling, solving and reducing the problem of cold chain failure.
That means when the power goes out, your Climacrate stays on.
But how do we even keep insulin cold without a single watt of electricity? Let's break it down.
Our fridge begins with a waterproof plastic casing that holds all our other components together. This is followed by a layer of insulating foam sealant, which keeps the cold air in, and a layer of reflective mylar, which keeps the heat radiation out. This mylar is sandwiched in between 2 layers of absorbent burlap, which also houses our hydrogel. Our final layer is our inner chamber, where you can actually store your insulin.
To activate the cooling, simply pour the water into the hydrogel. As the water begins to evaporate, the heat will travel away from the inner chamber. This is called evaporative cooling.
For just 1 gallon of water, your Climacrate stays cool for up to 48 hours at a time, at which point you can revive your hydrogel with water for another cycle of cooling. This system keeps your fridge at medically safe temperatures.
We are currently partnering with 2 nonprofits to pilot our product in the field, All Hands and Hearts and Direct Relief. We are excited to put our product in the field with them in the future. We have also been in contact with other organizations, such as American Red Cross and Convoy of Hope. We've been in conversation with them, asking them about their problems, their current solutions, and how we as Climate Crate can help.
We are currently manufacturing one Climate Crate for $80 and retailing at $160, keeping us at a comfortable 50% profit margin. In just 1 week, we have managed to raise $270 in donations from people like you who believe in our mission. We are asking for $200,000, 75% of which will be put towards hiring an expert, and the remainder 25% of which will be put towards obtaining our materials to help us test our product.
Among our competitors, Climate Crate is the only product that is electricity-free, ice-free, under $200, and can last over 48 hours.
We will begin recruiting an expert in August of 2025.
And by February of 2026, we'll have already hired this expert and begun our MVP research.
In August of that same year, we will begin and complete our MVP,
which we will then ship out in September of 2026 through our nonprofits.
We are the best team to create this product because we all personally know either a family member or a friend who has been diagnosed with diabetes, and we would never want them to be in a situation where they don't have access to their basic medications. So we created Climate Crate specifically for people like them in mind.
The tragedies like the ones in Puerto Rico were devastating.
But with Climate Crate, families like Sophia's don't have to suffer that kind of loss. It's the difference between life and death.
We are already partnering with 2 nonprofits, but we need your help to get it to everyone who needs it. Not just Sophia's family, but the ones you love too.
Thank you, and protect your loved ones with Climate Crate.
Thank you so much. My first question is, it looks like 75% of your funding is for this expert. Can you tell us a little bit more about, what this expert would do or how they're critical to your MVP research? And I guess in that as well, I'm curious about, I imagine that there are some supply chain logistics or manufacturing, and I didn't necessarily see that in your fundraising. So just trying to get some more details there.
Okay, so the reason we want to hire an expert is because none of us are experts in thermodynamics or mechanical engineering. And so we would want their advice to further develop our prototype. And that's the first step for us to be able to then manufacture and then further develop our prototype.
More about the manufacturing. Like Rylan said, we want to be able to hire an expert to actually test our product and make sure that it works, because most of our roadmap is also building our actual MVP. So we want to ensure 100% that it works. And then in the distant future, we will be manufacturing large scale, which is why that is not included in our costs.
Thank you.
I had a question about, first off, great finding a problem and a solution. I'm curious if there's any novel IP or if you've been iterating on anything in particular. And then based on that, I'm also curious about other use cases for the technology.
Okay, so yes, we are looking into making this IP in the future. So obviously, our first steps would be after we fully develop an MVP, we want to then get a utility patent and a design patent, as well as a trademark. But of course, that's way further down the line. And then, I'm sorry, what was the second part of your question?
Other use cases?
Oh, yeah. So Rishi, can you go back to the competitor analysis? So we have these three main competitors. And out of the 3 of them, the most used would be P-Lab Biothermal, which is what most nonprofits are currently using to this day to transport and store insulin. Internationally. But the problem with P-Lab Biothermal is that they're extremely high cost, as well as the fact that their cooling only lasts like 24 to 36 hours. So since we're offering a product that lasts another 12 hours longer and can last even longer as long as you refill the water, we would be like a complete game changer in this market. So I don't think that would be too much of an issue for us.
And something we're also reiterating of or tweaking in our own way is it's based off of something called a Zier plot, which has been used in rural areas for quite some time now. So it's usually that was used to store foods, but with our added technologies and the extra tweaks we made it to store insulin. So
Hello. Do you imagine each family to have their own climate crate, or is this going to be like stockpiled at a hospital? And just out of curiosity, how much storage room after all the hydrogel and stuff can you do you have a rough estimate of how much insulin you can store in the box?
Yeah. So our model for making money is actually selling directly to nonprofits themselves. So we won't be selling directly to families. We'll instead be going to nonprofits, and they will take care of distributing these to shelters or even people who need it. And even though this is currently a prototype, the inner chamber dimensions right now are 9 by 9 by 14 inches, and including everything else that needs to go in the inner chamber, this should be able to fit around 40 to 48 100 milliliter insulin bags.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Climate Crate. We will now introduce our second team, Team Verno.
Hi, I'm Kathy.
I'm Brielle.
And we're Verno. I'm sure you or someone you know dreamed for that one rare collectible. The holographic Charizard, the rarest Labubu. These are all the best and most popular items all around the world right now. But for most of us who are on tight budget, it's whether allowance or paycheck. It just makes the collectible world felt like something out of reach, too rare, too expensive, too hard to find.
That's where Verno comes in. Verno is a token-based platform where users can make predictions on collectible prices by buying virtual shares and seeing if the resale price rises or falls. Let me give you an example. If you buy a virtual share of a Labubu for 1,000 tokens, and by the next day, it grows to 1,500 tokens, and you sell it, you have just gained 500 more tokens than you started out with.
Going into our site, you land on our dashboard page where you can track the amount of tokens you currently have and all the collectibles you owned. Next, you can go to our marketplace in the second tab where it has all the collectibles we have on site right now. You can choose the one you want to predict. For example, this Pokemon card. On the right side, you can see a 24 hours live chart, and you can click on the green button here to buy it. It will tell you how much token you need to buy it and how much you want to buy. Confirm purchase brings you to the transaction page. You can see the transaction you have just made and all previous transaction made. You also can see total earned, total spent, and your net profit here. Lastly, we have exchange page. This is under beta testing currently, but eventually you're going to be able to use the token you earned to trade in the actual product.
Users get a free 100 tokens just for signing up, and they can also get up to 200 tokens by just referring their friends to our website.
If you feel like you don't have enough tokens, you can go to our top-up page on the top right corner to buy more tokens and accelerate your progress.
But what makes us so different from our competitors, like StockX and TCG Player? We provide live market data, an interactive marketplace, and a way for users to earn lower than retail price by making smarter predictions and engaging with our platform. And in just our launch week, we have gained 114 users and over $160 in revenue.
The collectible market will increase by 32% in the next 5 years. Verno's planning to follow this wave and integrate ourselves into the collectible market. We're asking for $50K to continue our growth, $22.5K for development, $15K for marketing, and $12.5K for operational cost.
By September, we want to enable the asset exchange, where you can turn tokens into real-life products. And by October, we want to host new assets such as comics and sports cards. And by December, we want to reach 500 Verno users through aggressive marketing.
Our team is perfect for this mission because we've gone through this frustrating time of collecting and we've seen how market is gated. We're determined to change this.
The problem is that people can't meaningfully engage with collectibles.
Verno's here to open the market for everyone.
Thank you, and join Verno to be a part of the
Future of collecting.
Thank you, Verno. We'll be moving on to judges' questions now.
All right, great job, team. I have a couple questions on the logistics of this. Is it that Verno stores and has custody of the goods and that you all collect and then put them on this market? Is it that somebody else owns the collectible and then they're putting it on the market? How does it work?
Yeah, so the marketplace is entirely virtual. So in terms of the exchange feature, we'll have to buy from resellers and then send it to the actual person who exchanged it. But if you're asking about the price movements and the charts and how the price is tracked, we pull data from eBay's Browse API. So the actual listing that's on there is completely virtual. And if you buy a virtual share, you don't actually own the collectible until you exchange for it on our exchange tab.
I want you to dig in a little more, though, on that, like who owns the collectible. So does Verno own the collectible? Like you buy, the item and then you store it somewhere?
Yes.
Okay.
Verno, yeah.
And sorry, just to follow up, you're buying it before listing it on the site, or are you buying it when someone redeems?
Once someone redeems, then we are buying and then sending it to them.
I guess, yeah, I guess my follow-up is, for these rare collectibles, how do you know you'll be able to get that? And then I guess I'd love for you to dig into, how do you make money on this, especially because these prices are fluctuating, etc.
Yeah, so we know that we'll be able to get these collectibles because the items that we handpick to be on our platform are ones that are available through eBay and ones that we can get through resellers and other potential marketplaces. And the second part of your question was, how do we make money off of this? Yeah, so realistically, asset prices are moving about anywhere between 0.1 and 2% a day in either up or down direction, as we've seen through about the past week of our platform. So if users really want to make that count and redeem their products, they have to buy tokens from us. And even then, there's no guarantee that their tokens will be able to grow to the necessary amount to redeem them. And if you go to appendix slide 11, I think. Yeah, we're actually listing them at a 20% token markup when exchanging, so we can account for shipping and any other difficulties that might arise.
So let's say I'm on your marketplace and I own, let's say 40%. I own the highest percentage. Does that mean that the item comes to my house or that you guys store the item?
Yeah, so if you own 40% of the item, there's actually no transaction pooling within our platform. So you can own fractionals, you can own 0.01% of one, you can own 2% of one, but that is just within our within our closed system. If you actually want to redeem, you have to get the tokens necessary.
Okay.
We have time for one more question from the judges.
Oh, sorry, I think I'm still a little bit confused, right? It sounds like you're not owning a share of the item, you're making money on a price fluctuation, but then you're also allowing people to redeem tokens for items that you don't own as the platform. Sorry, I'm not a Labubu expert, but I know people are going crazy on secret Labubus or really real Labubus. I could imagine a scenario where you can't necessarily get that in time, or what if you get a fake? There's a lot of fake ones on Temu, etc. So I think, we're just trying to wrap our heads around kind of the ownership of the item and what people are actually making money on and how y'all are making a profit.
So the Labubu, the item the asset the user will buy is a virtual share of the collectible. So the price fluctuation. So it was a virtual share of the collectible. So when the user buys a virtual share of that Labubu at 1,000 tokens, and the share rises up to that virtual asset, the price of the virtual asset rises to 1,500 tokens, and you make those 500 tokens, you can do this multiple times through a variety of collectibles, and then get all the profit that you make, you can exchange it for the real item. So you're not actually owning anything until you try to redeem it from the tokens that you've made.
You're basically trying to make predictions, like if the item you want to get is going up and you pay 1,000, it goes to 1,500 and you sell it, then you have 1,500 tokens right now compared to how you only had 1,000 before. With this 1,500, you can redeem, exchange to the real product.
Thank you, Verno. We will now be giving the stage to Team Driven.
Is it working? Hi, I'm Ane.
I'm Ratika, and we're Driven, your proactive AI accountability assistant. This is Isaac. He's a great guy. He plays tennis, volunteers on weekends, and still finds time to excel in school.
Or at least that's what he says. In reality, he's missed 3 tennis lessons this week. Additionally, don't tell anyone, but he also got a C- on his most recent math test.
He has a lot on his plate, and he really tries. But every time he tries to sit down and do something productive, he ends up doom scrolling or unintentionally watching a movie.
But as I'm sure you guys know, Isaac is not the only one. In fact, 80% of students struggle with procrastination, and 88% of students who use productivity apps end up abandoning them within the first 2 weeks.
That's why we're building Driven, a proactive AI accountability assistant that keeps users accountable through smart reminders and notifications.
Here's a quick demo video. Isaac is telling Driven about his upcoming math test. Over here, Driven will then process his input and apply it to his schedule with his other tasks. As you can see, Driven allocated a 1-hour study time for him on Saturday. Once Saturday comes, later in the day, Driven will check in on Isaac proactively and make sure that he's actually working on his math prep.
Our platform includes 4 key features. First, AI-backed scheduling. The Driven AI takes the tasks that you input to create a personalized schedule based on your deadlines, your habits, and your workload.
Number 2, adaptive rescheduling. If something comes up or Isaac misses a task, Driven will automatically reschedule his day to make sure that he doesn't fall behind on his plans.
Third, escalating reminders. If you keep canceling it, the Driven AI will make sure that you cannot ignore it by sending persistent increasing alerts.
But here's our biggest feature. Number 4, Driven reaches out first through proactive accountability.
That means if you fall off track, Driven will not let you reach out first. Instead, it will nudge you proactively.
So while other tools help plan your day, Driven actually makes sure you follow through.
In just 1 week, we have made 26 pre-orders and generated over $1,200 in revenue.
So let's talk about our business model. For the first MVP, we're offering a 3-month pre-order plan for $50. However, we will be transitioning to a $20 per month subscription. Our main expenses go into API costs, which are costing us $310 for 1,000 users, leaving us with an unbelievable, outstanding 98% profit margin.
But why are we better than our competitors?
Unlike existing tools such as Notion, Reclaim, and Motion, Driven is the only platform that is smart, adaptive, proactive, and offers escalating notifications.
Why are we the best team to build this platform? We're building Driven because we've lived the problem. We're students. We know what it's like to try and balance everything, and we're driven to build a solution that works best for people just like us.
And as for our future, we're entering a market that's not only sustainable, but also investable. Productivity software is expected to reach a market cap of over $250 billion in the next 10 years. Additionally, Gen Z and millennials are spending $500 a year on productivity software and self-improvement tools. and it's clear that they're always looking for better solutions.
In the short run, by the end of August 2025, we plan to integrate with Google Calendar so that users can sync their real schedule with the Driven platform. By the end of September, we plan to launch an iOS app. And by the end of November, we plan to implement a feature where users can share analytics with their friends.
So, we're looking for $50,000, which we will split into 4 main categories: product development, operational costs, marketing, and cloud servers. In conclusion, procrastination is far more common than we think. Students struggle to stay on task, and no available tools keep them accountable for their work.
Driven is the proactive AI accountability assistant that fixes this. With Driven, users like Isaac regain control, finish tasks on time, and can even watch movies guilt-free. Thank you, and let's put an end to procrastination and stay driven.
Thank you, Team Driven. We'll be now moving on to questions from our judges.
All right. Let's talk about proactive accountability. What does that really mean in this exchange with my AI partner?
Yeah, so the issue with existing platforms is that they're static, which means that you have to interact with them first before they respond to you. So you input something and then the platform outputs something. But the idea is that our platform is going to remind you and notify you without you necessarily having to check in first.
Yeah, walk me a little bit through the user experience, or what do you expect behavior-wise from the person using Driven? I saw the demo in the beginning. I have to input, hey, I have a test on Monday. So do I do that for my whole life?
So once we integrate with Google Calendar, you're not going to have to manually enter it into Driven. You'll be able to keep using the tools that you're familiar with, like Google Calendar. And then Driven is going to take those the things in your schedule and then remind you at certain times to check in and keep you accountable.
Yeah, so essentially the calendar part is it's like its own little thing, and the accountability is what we're mainly focusing on. The reason we have the calendar feature is so that we can make scheduling itself a much easier and convenient task for the user. And then we want to sync the calendar to the notification system so that the proactive reminders can sync to the calendar. So when you have something to do, then it'll remind you proactively then.
Yeah, I had some questions. You mentioned revenue numbers and users, but also on your roadmap, you showed that you weren't launching the app until later. So what are users paying for right now, and what are you learning what are you learning about talking to users?
Yeah, sure. Right now we have a website that users obviously pay for that they can use, and that's what we showed on our demo video. The iOS app would be separate, which the iOS app would help us integrate iPhone and computer and iPad and other Apple devices, so you can track productivity across multiple devices instead of just on the Google Chrome.
So what users paid for so far is a 3-month pre-order upon release. So once we release, they'll have full access to our platform for 3 months.
And how much interviewing have you done with those users?
So we talked to them with our market research, and it's clear that they're looking for better solutions compared to modern productivity apps. And based on our research, we've also seen 88% of people who use existing tools leave them within the first 2 weeks.
And the biggest pain points that we found from users from all of our validation surveys is that it's too easy for them to snooze reminders about tasks. So our platform is trying to make that hard and having more persistent alerts.
Yeah, I guess I'm a little curious about that, right? I think I'm guilty of blocking my calendar. Maybe if you use Duolingo, you're getting spammed with tons of alerts, right? And I'm a big procrastinator, right? I might snooze them. I guess I'm trying to understand, right? What are you doing kind of that sets you apart with your persistent reminders, or how are you making them sticky? And then do you have a way to kind of validate that, he did do his math studying Saturday night from 8 to 9 p.m.? How do you ensure that someone actually kind of closes a loop and you get that ROI there?
Yeah, so basically, of course, this is our MVP stage. So right now we just have notifications. The reason why we said that we want to launch into an iOS app or a web app is because by doing that, we'll be able to have more control over what we're able to see from the user. So right now, we have a demo Chrome extension to kind of test if we can view, because the Chrome extension can only view the link. But when we view their screen, then that's how we're going to be able to actually track if they've actually done all the activities that they say they've been able to do.
What's your plan for distribution?
Yeah, so we're currently reaching out to high school students and college students, which are our main target market. But through word of mouth and going outreach, I think we can expand to many people and social media influencing as well. Because right now we're doing marketing on our own account, but we'll reach out to influencers and mainly through social media.
There's like a large like demand for high schoolers to be watching like people like Gohar, who like give people study tips and stuff like that. So we believe that because like you can look at his following, that if we reach out to influencers like this, we can reach a large student audience.
Thank you, Team Driven.
We will now be giving the floor to Team Global Link.
Hi, I'm David.
I'm Cindy, and we're Global Link. You don't need 50 new contacts.
You need 5 real ones. Meet David. Hi, I'm David, an international student from the Czech Republic. And when I first arrived into the United States, I was lonely. I didn't have any friends, and I didn't know how to make any friends. I had a bunch of contacts on my phone, but they never called back.
While big gatherings and social media give the illusion of connection, that's not what's actually happening. 2 in 3 college students are lonely.
Global Link helps with that. Global Link helps people who have failed to make friends online connect in real life.
What does that look like? Literally us running around, approaching people in person, occasionally getting rejected, to organize events and connect people. We organize events for small groups, creating an environment for genuine face-to-face interactions. We sell them a ticket and bring them to a curated experience that same night.
No app, no BS. Only human-to-human connection. So far, we have organized 6 meetups, connected 12 people, and earned over $130 in revenue.
And the most important part about the impact are the connections that we've made. For example, take Jeffrey from one of our painting sessions. He and his friend are kind of tech nerds, and they met with a pair of Valley girls, a group that you might think would never work, left that evening to go watch the sunset together. That is incredible!
Of course, we're not the only ones trying to connect people together in real life. Of course, we have competition. Bumble for Friends is a part of the Bumble dating app with millions of users, and TimeLeft and 222 also connect people together and organize events for them. But unlike them, we offer more than just dinners. Unlike them, we don't have any extra costs like splitting the check with strangers after your meal. And most importantly, our service is stripped of all fluff and human in every single step.
We also have the perfect team for this. We're the ones crazy enough to do this. We are obsessed. But in all seriousness, we're willing to give it our all because we believe in the human connections that happen at these events, and we love doing this.
In the next 6 months, we plan to organize 120 meetups with 30 meetups from second-time users. In order to achieve that, we'll recruit ambassadors and organize first events in Austin and New York City in September. In October, we'll test activity types and create a system to organize 8 meetups per weekend in both cities combined. And from November to February, we'll continue with the system and the best tested activities. We are seeking $57,000, from which most will go on the event costs and the cost of ambassadors. Now, let's go back to beginning. Making friends online doesn't work. And the data agrees. There are hundreds of social media apps, but loneliness is bigger than ever. We're solving that by getting people together face to face in the most human form possible. We're flexible with our events, transparent with our costs, and focused on delivering the most genuine experience we can.
Thank you, because connection isn't algorithms, it's humans.
Thank you, Global Link. We'll be taking questions from our judges now.
Thank you so much. I have two questions. I think first, how do you ensure the quality of these events? It looks like you're starting to expand to other ambassadors. Then second is just, anytime you're meeting up in real life, et cetera, there's sometimes trust and safety concerns. So curious on how you'd address both.
So we will be there in person. One of our ambassadors or us will be there to facilitate the event and make sure that there's no safety problems.
And it's also in public or semi-public spaces.
First off, y'all have infectious vibes. I'm like, wow, man, I want to go paint or do chess with you all. I'm curious about the advertising a little bit. Some of the advertising was like chess with strangers. I'm like, do people like the with strangers advertising, or do you even need it at all?
I think it's like the serendipitous kind of like, I'm gonna be spontaneous and like try something new and like connect with people like in just this way that you don't see anymore nowadays, right?
But honestly, like, we're still testing that. When we did the events, for example, Cindy was a lot on the strangers. Would you paint with strangers? I tried some different things, and both worked. So we'll see what works out long term.
I even wonder on your advertising leaning more into the word serendipitous, like serendipitous chess, serendipitous painting. Like, I just wonder about trying some different things.
Yeah.
Yeah, we definitely have time to try.
How do you, so you mentioned you just approach the person, like if I just happen to not be in your vicinity, how do I find out more about these things?
So it's also by word of mouth. A lot of the people who have previously come to our events can tell their friends about it, and we plan to do more marketing, perhaps on social media, but that's to be determined.
Yes, and right now we're not focusing on like other places. Right now we're thinking of just like the cities. I go to school in Austin, right? So we're gonna be doing events in Austin and New York City, right? And we're not sure. We'll figure it out in the future if we're going to expand to more places.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Global Link. We'll be giving the floor to Team Cupin.
Hi, I'm Jacob.
And I'm Jessica, and we're Cupin. We're transforming the way teens are expressing their individuality by reimagining a classic accessory, the pin.
First, let's meet Rachel, our co-founder who is obsessed with Taylor Swift.
Online, she gets to be a full-on Swiftie, sharing GIFs, photos, anything Taylor Swift related. But in person, she's stuck with this static outfit. She has no way to showcase her favorite Taylor GIFs, concert memories, or fan art. She has no way of making her physical presence as dynamic as her digital one.
Introducing Cupin, a fashion tech device that lets you wear any image. And in Rachel's case, she's able to wear as many Taylor Swift GIFs and photos as her heart desires.
Now, when she's at school, she gets to look down at the pin on her shirt and know that she's a walking, talking Swiftie. And that Taylor would be proud. This boosts her confidence in school unlike anything else. But what is Cupin, and how does it work?
Cupin is a wearable digital pin. To use it, simply connect the pin to our mobile app. Select any photo or GIF from your camera roll and watch it seamlessly appear on the screen.
Cupin attaches to anything, whether that be a shirt, a backpack, lanyard, or hat. Cupin attaches and holds on tight. People similar to Rachel believe in our product. In just 1 week, we sold 67 Cupins and made over $3,000.
Cupin exists in the custom apparel market, which was valued at $64 billion this year and is projected to grow to 144 billion by 2033. The only legit alternative to Cupin is Dot. However, Dot's app is hard to use and you can't resize GIFs to fit the screen. Looking forward, we're planning to prepare for Black Friday, where we hope to make 1,500 sales. We're going to do this by finalizing our packaging and fulfilling pre-orders in September.
Then we will be launching our TikTok Shop marketing campaign, where we'll be reaching out to influencer connections and post twice a day. Come November, we will be offering customizable metal or silicone casing.
We're asking for $100,000 to help support our manufacturing, marketing, operational, and legal costs.
We are the best team to help this product succeed because we all understand the void between online and physical expression. From static clothing to dynamic self-expression, our team has used Cupin to stand out in a style that speaks.
37 million young people in the US feel like they can't express themselves. Maybe you're like Rachel, who's deep in her Swiftie era but keeps it low-key. Or maybe you're like Rishi, who hides his love for matcha. Or maybe you're one of the other 37 million young Americans who have unique interests but don't have a better way to express themselves. Cupin exists for everyone.
In conclusion, our founding team and customers believe that Cupin is more than just a pin.
It's identity.
We want to take the very things that have drawn interactions online and bring it back to the real world. Thank you. And let's make fashion tell our story with Cupin.
Thank you, Team Cupin. We'll be moving on to judges' questions now.
Hey, Cupin team. First off, this is adorable. It did take me a second to figure out that I could pull the magnet off of the back, but really adorable. I have a few questions. I'm really curious about competitors in this space, battery life, and what's next. What do you guys do over the next couple months?
So the first one is competitors.
Yeah, competitors.
So there has been two notable ones in the past, Badger and Pins Collective, and on they made over $100,000 each on funding on Kickstarter, but they just disappeared completely off the face of the earth in 2016 and 2018. And now, of course, there's Dot. But first of all, they don't have an app, so you have to plug it into your computer to upload an image. And it's almost twice the cost of ours.
So the only real operating competitor right now is Dot, and this is an example of that they posted on their Kickstarter in July of this year. So their app is still in no shape similar to ours.
And then to answer your question about battery life, so we use a 300 milliamp hour battery, and it lasts around 6 to 8 hours each charge cycle.
Also, another notable fact that maybe you didn't ask is that our screen has 1,500 lumens, while this one is only 1,200. So obviously it's much brighter on his, and you probably wouldn't be able to see it otherwise.
And next couple months?
So on our roadmap, we plan to because we already have 67 orders, so we plan to just finish our packaging, which is just cheap cardboard boxes and stickers on it with our logo, and we're planning to ship those out. And then after that, our next steps is to begin our marketing campaign, which is two TikToks every day or week, and then we plan to do TikTok Shop, which is all of our market is on TikTok, which is teenagers, people who like fashion, and yeah.
Also, just to elaborate on marketing a little bit more, we're also planning on using word of mouth, using paid ads, and just showcasing our product at different venues and tech stores. But yeah, that's basically it.
Can we talk about unit economics? I did the math, so roughly $47 per unit. So break that down for me.
Oh no, so the $21.35 is actually the profit. To actually make it, it's only $23.35, and then we're gonna sell it for $49.99, which meaning our profit is $21.35. So we're basically making a 43% margin.
This is super cool. I did test it. It does stay on. I'm curious if you have, other use cases. One that came to mind is just I'd rather wear this than some of the things I have to wear at conferences or professional events.
Yeah, that's a great question. So we were thinking of expanding to B2B, things like badges for, different offices or, for example, tech stores that would like something cool to showcase their logo. Street vendors that want to, showcase their QR code for tips. People that want to go to concerts. There's so many use cases because it's so versatile.
Also, I work at a boba store, and I talked to my boss, and he said he's planning to buy 20 units because we go to tech companies and we give boba and tacos and stuff like that, and he said he would think it was really amazing if he could put his logo or QR code of just his website or company, and especially venues where they have different concerts coming through, they can put different band images on their thing and just hand them out at the concert. So I think it's really applicable to both customers and businesses.
Yeah, we've relied for any initial feedback to our first users that they think they just super great.
We have time for one more question from the judges.
How'd you come up with how much you want to sell it for? And how do you think you might iterate on that?
Originally, we wanted to sell it for around $20 because for me, I'm not super wealthy, I'm a teenager with an allowance. $20 sounds more $20 is more affordable to me. And I'm sure we did get a lot of comments saying that, oh, now it's $50, I can't really buy it. But then after testing, so we did 4 rounds of price changes. So we started at $20, and then after that we would hit 30, 40, and then 50. And we realized that at $50 we were getting the best margins and still getting sales. It was more worth it for us to go to 50 because we were still getting the same amount of sales we were at 20, but we're getting more money. And who doesn't like money,
We clearly do.
Thank you, Team Cupin. We will now be giving the floor to Team
Alex W.
Hi, I'm Richard.
Hi, I'm Joanna.
And I'm Mahika. Our startup is LXW, where we help real estate investors buy with confidence using the data they need.
Let me tell you the story of Rishi, my dad's friend. He's an experienced real estate investor who's looking to invest in his 4th property. The secret behind his success so far? His data-driven decision-making that allows him to purchase properties with confidence. But the problem is, just getting that data itself is a full-time job. And on top of that, he still needs to analyze data, shortlist properties, contact homeowners one by one. The list goes on.
And the fact is, 87% of all real estate investors regret where they purchased their properties. And that is simply because they don't have the time to find all the data they need to make an educated decision. Rishi knows this, and he's determined not to become part of the statistic.
And that's why we made LXW, a data aggregation platform for real estate investors just like Rishi who are drowning in data. And you may be wondering, how? How exactly do experienced real estate investors like Rishi benefit by using LXW?
Don't worry, we have the answer. On our website, we have a polished dashboard with all the metrics a real estate investor would need. For example, when searching for an area, you can either look by neighborhood or directly through the zip code. And once you find an area you're interested in, you're brought directly to our dashboard where all of our metrics are sorted into categories. For example, house prices in market trend category, permit volume in the construction category, and of course, a fully interactive map where users can easily visualize the zip code they're looking at.
Our data takes a holistic standpoint, accounting for all the metrics you care about, like safety,
affordability,
walkability,
education, and
so much more. And in order to gain the trust of our consumers, we source all of our data from large providers. For example, Google Places, Yelp API, the US Census, and WalkScore.
And just to be clear, we provide the data. You're the one who makes the final decision on which zip code matches your criteria.
In just 1 week, our product has already been tested by over 25 beta testers. Once we launch, we plan on implementing a monthly subscription of $199. With just 100 users, that already brings our monthly revenue to $20,000. Subtract $2,000 for data costs, and our total profit per month is $18,000, a margin of 90%.
We are ready for this because each one of us knows someone like Rishi who struggles with collecting real estate data. That means we can tap directly into our network to develop and sell our platform. We also have a wide variety of technical and marketing abilities to make LXW succeed.
But LXW does have some main competitors, namely Placer AI, Reonomy, and Zana, who all provide similar services. But LXW, we're different. We're the only company that provides zip code-based data and are meant for individual investors at just a fraction of the cost.
Our next big milestone is going to be our full MVP launch this month, where users can access their dashboard with easy-to-read metrics.
Next month in September, we'll go even deeper. By using more extensive APIs, we'll be able to incorporate even more data metrics for our consumers to look at.
Then, in October, we plan on splitting these zip codes up into smaller areas in order to ensure our users get the most accurate and precise data.
In order to make this happen, we are seeking $76,000. This goes into product design, customer acquisition, data from APIs, and operational costs.
But let's take a step back. Why does LXW even exist? Why does it matter? Real estate investing sounds easy until you try to start. Then it's full of scattered data, complex tools, and time-consuming research.
And that's exactly why we created LXW, where we put all the data you need in one dashboard, so real estate investors like Rishi can find their perfect neighborhood faster.
Thank you, and let's save time investing with LXW.
Thank you, LXW. We will now be giving time for judges' questions.
Thank you. So curious, I just want to check. It sounds like you're targeting individual real estate investors. Was wondering if you could expand a little bit more on like your targeting, marketing. I saw you allocated some money for customer acquisition. How are you finding these folks?
So, first, it's through our personal network. I personally, my father is a real estate developer. That's where I got the idea, actually. And we've been tested by 25 users who are all friends of his or other connections, such as Joanna has knows realtors or people who have worked in the real estate industry. The money is being allocated through these 4 categories: influencer partnerships, paid ads, referral incentives, and professional content creation. So first, we want to create really well-created videos or ads so that people who are in the industry can find our content and platform. Most of it will going to be through the paid ads as well, because ours is a more of a professional platform. It's harder to use word of mouth outside of just our personal network. And was there one more question in that?
Oh no, I think you answered.
Okay,
Yeah, just kind of customer acquisition, etc.
Okay, sounds good.
I need you guys to repeat the problem one more time. I'm having trouble locking into the exact problem that you're solving.
Yeah, so our platform is specifically targeted towards experienced real estate investors who either have trouble finding all the data they need, or they simply don't have the time to collect all this data, put it in the spreadsheets, and then aggregate all of it. Because the thing is, researching like which zip codes to invest in takes a lot of time, and a lot of people who are working full-time jobs, they simply don't have that time.
Okay, great. Thank you very much.
We have time for one more question from the judges. Okay.
Yeah, I'll ask one more. Let's hear from the team a little bit about like the team dynamic. How did each of you contribute?
We can go one by one. Yeah.
So I'm Davidem, and I'm the technician part. So I fully studied the platform, because actually this platform at the moment is a prototype, and this is meant for real estate investors. So in order to accomplish the goal of working with a lot of data, we have to study the better architecture of the software. So I can go on the appendix. Okay, so So I studied like the architecture and the infrastructure, so it's built to be scalable and to retain as many data for future analytics.
I'm Leo. I stress tested Davide's code, and I made sure that the elements were like easy to interact with, like humanized, and I also helped with the slide deck.
I'm Akil. I sort of worked on most of the logistics. I did a lot of the interviewing with the investors and the realtors to sort of determine which metrics were important to them and what data they look for. And yeah, I pretty much just kind of just worked on the idea for the most part.
Oh, hi, I'm Joanna.
And I'm Ahika, and we worked on marketing and we contacted many real estate investors and other people who seemed to be interested in real estate to get more advice about how to improve our product.
And both my parents have real estate license. They've had like experience in the real estate industry as well. So I was also able to ask them for like contacts, ask them to like give us feedback what they look for when they're investing in properties. So
yeah, I'm also more of marketing because I do have a lot of real estate connection. I'd say like 10-ish friends with real estate parents. I also do like a little bit of cybersecurity, just like light cybersecurity tests. We don't store any of our like data locally, but it's still good to be secure.
And then I'm Victoria. I like to think of myself as kind of like the copywriter. So I helped make our slideshow and I helped write messages for us to send out and get traction. So I think of myself kind of like the communications person.
Thank you so much for listening to all the pitches. Right now, the judges will deliberate their final choices. So the judges have finished deliberating. They've done their job. And I would love to introduce you to LeanGap's program director, Sadak Cervantes.
Hello, good morning. It's so amazing to be here to see all the student accomplishments. I think like the judges were saying that, in addition to them, we can't believe that everything that we're seeing here is real. It's not a mock company. It's not some fake numbers or a business plan only. Everything is real. Everything that you experienced is real. And it happened in just 4 weeks. That's the most amazing thing, And it is because of the students. The late night work hours, the early morning work hours, the grit that they show, and I just want to thank all the students for their hard work. Now, the other 50% of the work is the mentors. Now, this is LeanGap. LeanGap is not a brand. LeanGap is not a curriculum. LeanGap is not a formula that we can just give to any institution. This is LeanGap right here. The mentors have their own companies, their own jobs, their own things to do, and yet they take 1 month off out of their lives to be here for our students. And getting people like this is so hard because this is not just random people that we that applied via Indeed.com or whatever. These are people that have been on the trenches. These are people that are entrepreneurs, technologists, therapists. These are people that are willing to stand with our students day after day after day. And truth to be told, no one is getting rich from this program. I know you paid a bunch of money for this program. Most of that is going to UC Berkeley. Don't worry. So they really do it out of the love for it, out of love for the students, out of love for their dreams. It's very hard to find another Sayuri, another Mariana, Tegan, Luis, Kaya, Ollie, MJ, Chelly, Kevin, and Shrestha. It's really hard to find those people. So I want to thank, again, the mentors for their time. Now, summer 2025 is over. 2026 is around the corner. If you have experienced something powerful here, whether you're a parent, a friend, a family member, also a student, I advise or recommend that if you want to share this experience with someone else, you do it today. Because we also have spots filled for next year already. We only can take 40 students. We made a very, very special exception. This is the first year that we do that, where we took another student in to 41 students this year, but that is very rare. Now, the reason we limit it, as opposed to other programs that have 100 people classes, 80 people classes, you can't really connect with 80 people. You can't really connect with 100 people, 150 people. And really, the power of LeanGap is in the connection that the mentors make with each student. Now, if you want to follow our journey or their journey, really, I would advise that you follow us on LeanGap on our social networks. It's mostly run by the students themselves. So LeanGap is a hard experience, but as you saw in the first video, it's also a fun experience. So you can see all the things there. Now, without further ado, other people that also have the things like jobs, companies to run, funds to run, that are missing some important meetings to be here for our students and that there's no way that we can repay them are the judges. So can I welcome the judges on stage, please?
Well, I'm very lucky because my job and my life's work is working with young people. So I'm so thankful to get to be here today with LeanGap and everyone here. This year has been absolutely incredible. The speeches at the beginning, all the pitches, everybody brought their AAA game. So right now we're going to talk about best pitch. Best pitch is what we were looking for in terms of storytelling, narrative. Did it have all the elements of a pitch in terms of talking about problems, solutions, competitors, cost, and so on?
And without further ado, the best pitch goes to Climacrate. This was a unanimous decision amongst all of the judges. We were honestly speechless, blown away by the storytelling, the public speaking in your pitch. You seamlessly weave together your user stories, the problem space, the impact you had, and the longer term vision in a beautiful way. So huge congratulations to the team.
All right. Hello. All right. I have the honor of announcing our LeanGap Outstanding Company of 2025. I think judges were also unanimous on this decision. And how we think about Outstanding Company is just we also do look at your pitch, but we also look at your company, your product, the traction you were able to build in the last 4 weeks, as well as, in this case, a hint, the hardware aspect. So the winner of Outstanding Company this year is Qpin.
All right, chill, bro, chill.
And something we'd love to do before we let you all head off to celebrate is each of us would like to give some words of parting advice as you go back to school or off to college.
You know, one thing that I'm just so inspired by here today is the level of collaboration, the level of passion that you all have for each other. You're doing this together. These wins today for best pitch and most outstanding, you all helped each other to do these things. And if you can keep going forward with everything you do in that collaborative instead of competitive mindset, it's going to take you very, very far. So just congrats to everybody for supporting everything that's happening here.
And I was chatting with Sadok earlier today, and I've been judging for 4 years, both online and in person. And this is my 5th cohort. And I just wanted to share that I was completely blown away by the caliber of the public speaking, to the pitches, to the ideas from all of you. So please celebrate that and celebrate all of that blood, sweat, and tears that you poured into the ideas. I think the biggest piece of advice I'd love to leave you with, my background's in product management, and something I learned when I worked at Twitch a long time ago is just experiment to decide. And I think that's what really has shined through all of your ideas, going out into the world, building something, putting it out there, continuing to ship and iterate. And so keep doing that. It's how I continue. And, you can apply that to life as well from the initial speakers too. So don't be afraid, experiment to decide, put yourself out there.
All right, so this is the first year I've been a judge, but in prior years for Lean Gap, I've also been a mentor to some of the teams. And I think looking at it from a different perspective has been really awesome. I didn't know what any of these 6 companies did today, and seeing it kind of at the final stage without seeing all that process beforehand has been amazing. And I'll just leave you with stay connected, have fun. And that's, as you can see from Lean Gap, it's built on a lot of relationships, and that just continues throughout the rest of your life.
Now, on behalf of all the students, all the mentors that have been with us in the past 10 years, everyone, I want to just say thank you for being of the Lean Gap family. It's been 10 years of amazing ups and downs and tears and sweats and blood and going to the dorms at 3 a.m. Go to sleep, bro. Like, are you feeling okay? Do you want a cough drop? So I just want to say thank you again to all the mentors, to all the judges that have been throughout the years. It's been an amazing journey. And here's to another 10 years of Lean Gap, okay? So a special thank you to the parents here, the parents and family members. Thank you for trusting your children to us. The highest metric of success here at Lean Gap is that no one died. Thank you, and see you next year.